Hey friends, we are back in beautiful Madrid, back in Lavapies. We actually walked on the street in the last episode. We're gonna start off from here and go in a different direction. Look at this beautiful sunny day. Oh, amazing. It's not even summer yet, it's still spring, but the temperatures are pretty summery. It's getting around 28, 29, 30 degrees, which is about 85 Fahrenheit. And here you have one of my favorite kind of brick buildings, old school brick. They just don't do that anymore. They do in posh neighborhoods. At least I can speak for New York. If you go to Brooklyn, to places like Williamsburg, where they're building brand new buildings in the style of old school architecture from the previous centuries, they do take the extra time and money to make it look really beautiful, and I can only imagine what the actual extra cost is. It must be a lot. And the Whole Foods Market, which is the organic supermarket owned by Jeff Bezos, which is very popular in US, they built their new location. Well, this is like almost 10 years ago now. They built their new location in Park Slope, and they used recycled brick from, I think, from a warehouse in New Jersey. And it looks phenomenal. It looks so beautiful. And I wish more companies and more architects were able to implement that. But I imagine that costs a lot of money. For example, New York City gave Whole Foods $12.9 million to build that supermarket in that area, because they built it on what is called a Superfund site. Basically, it's an extremely polluted, toxic area, which is becoming one of the hottest neighborhoods to build in. It's so polluted that even the government doesn't know what to do with that area, and they're basically not doing anything with that area except giving people tax incentives to build there. It's difficult enough that, they got 13 million in tax incentives to build there, but they built out a part of the canal that was the polluted part, and they made the area really beautiful, because before it was just unusable. So here on the right you have La Lorenza, which is one of my favorite restaurants actually. It's a Spanish Mediterranean cuisine, very low key, so good. Not that expensive, well, depending on where you're from, but it's probably about 20 euros per meal or so. So funny, this actual street, one time while I was waiting for my friend in that restaurant, there were some festivities here on the street, right where we are now, and they were celebrating one of the saints. So the streets were just full of people, and people were talking, and there's music playing. And what I found funny is that it was a religious festivity, but at the end of the street there was a DJ, like a whole DJ booth, and like the street was popping. So that was pretty interesting to see. And this church on the left, they usually have weddings here, so you see people are coming out. And the street we're looking at right now, there's so many bars, so many places to go. Like if you come here at night, it's very, like this is the street you want to be on. Calle de la Fe. Calle is street, and de is of. So the street of Fe. This is the church of San Lorenzo, which is probably why the restaurant across the street is called La Lorenza. So let's walk this way. Let's walk up this hill. Frequently when I walk down the street that we just walked, I often need to go on this street, but I'm always like, I don't want to walk up the hill. I wonder why these buildings are frequently a variety of yellow color. Like, are they using some kind of tinted lime wash, or is it just paint nowadays? It's probably just paint. And I'm assuming they're just keeping the color for cultural, historic purposes. It's also possible that Madrid might be regulating which colors they have to paint the buildings if they are historical buildings. But that's just a guess. I don't know. This guy looks frustrated. And this street is kind of falling apart. Needs some work. Keep in mind, a lot of the places are closed during the day, and things open up, gates come up, and streets come to life. So we walked past several places that just look like nothing is going on there. But all these closed gates, like Lola, that stuff will open up. Actually, one of my best friend's old cars that he sold was named Lola. Well, that was the car's nickname. I think it was a Mitsubishi Galant. That thing was falling apart. But yeah, actually I talked to him about that the other day. We both had old cars that we sold, but at some point I saw my old car on the road in the wild. I sold my old car to basically a laundromat that would do delivery. The guy bought my old van, and I had a sticker on the back. He never bothered to remove it, so he kept driving around with my sticker. So at some point I got into the habit of looking for my old car, and when my friend sold his car, which also had a sticker on the back, keep in mind these are cars from when we were like 20 years old, so we would always look for our cars. I looked for his Mitsubishi, he looked for my GMC Safari. That was pretty funny. And now it's been like it's been a long time, and we still kind of look for those cars out in the road. Of course, they're probably long been recycled and they're not on the road anymore, I'm sure. But just a stupid game we play. And that's the funny thing about car ownership. I really love cars. I've always had one, if not two cars. And here, but being in Spain, just like that part of me is just gone. I have zero desire to have a car. I mean, like, if you give me a car, I'll be happy to drive it. But there's something about United States. Like, when you go back to the States, it's like, oh my God, I want that car. I want that car. It's just something I haven't figured out. It's really curious. So in the previous episode, I mentioned, at the end of the previous episode, when we were pretty much finishing up, we went to the street that I mentioned was uphill and had a lot of cute little bars and restaurants. This is that street. And it's one of my favorite streets. I remember the first time I visited Spain, I walked here and I loved this place. And nothing has changed. I still love it, and now I love it even more. I take a lot of walks here. Frequently, when I want to do something, I no longer go to the very center. I just do stuff here. I mean, this is the center, but there are varying degrees of center. This is one of my favorite bars right here. It's like a really low-key bar. It looks like it's, I don't know, like it's from the 70s or something, but yeah, I love it. And these streets are super beautiful. It's funny, my friend that I was just mentioning with the car, he came out to Spain once for 2 months and stayed on that street in a very cute Airbnb. And it was really funny because he got this amazing European apartment, had a beautiful balcony and like a beautiful view from the balcony, I mean. And he was on a second floor. Madrid nightlife right here. He loved it. And then like a week later, he was like, oh my God. At 6 a.m, we got drunk people yelling on the street. At 1 a.m, every single night, garbage trucks are shaking the trash cans. It's like, I can't catch a break. It's just noise nonstop. And I was like, well, yeah, it is a neighborhood with a lot of bars, and you're on the second floor. So that was well, from my perspective, it was a bit funny, but I think he was slightly annoyed. But despite that, he absolutely fell in love with Madrid. So this right here is one of my favorite buildings in all of Spain, probably. So the mural, this painting of this woman, So this is, as you can see, Mercado Anton Martin. And this woman was one of my first memories of being in Spain. And yeah, I remember walking past it and taking a picture and then coming back to New York and looking at it. I'm like, oh my God, Spain, I love Spain. So yeah, still here and I love it. This is a really nice taco place. Strange and funny thing about this taco place is when you go inside and you order whatever you want, your drinks, cocktails, tacos, but once you sit down you can't go back to reorder. If you want more, you have to get out of the restaurant and get back in line. And maybe, I'm not sure if they do that during the day, but at night there's like a long wait to get inside, and that's their funny system. Here in the corner with the white wall on the left is one of my favorite bars as well. Really low key, can't even see it, but. And this is a really old school cinema called Filmoteca. It's subsidized by Madrid, so tickets are only €3. It's very nice. Of course, you can get tickets online, but it's really cute. Like at a certain time, they open up the ticket booth, and all the senior citizens are there buying tickets, and it's really cute. One time I got in the line just to get a physical ticket, and it was a nice experience. I love that theater, but the sound is awful. Like they just don't have a sound system. There's some kind of there are a few speakers in the front, so that's my only complaint. But everything else is so good, I'm not going to complain. It's nice. It's an overall cool experience. Because if I want to go see a modern movie with a modern sound system, I'm going to go to a modern theater. But this is that old school experience. Oh, by the way, here's that ticket booth. And this little street, which is still wrapping around the market, so nice. It's nice to see people just standing outside, having some beers, some wine, having some tapas. It's a really cute street. And one of my favorite, by the way, I'm going to say that everything's my favorite because I have a lot of favorite places. One of my favorite little tiny coffee shops is on that corner. You can't even go inside. You can just get coffee to go, which is not very common in Spain to get something to go. And this place right here, this tiny little place, it looks like some kind of a deli counter, but people actually like sit down, have a glass of wine, some olives. It's just here's the coffee shop. Very nice experience. You know, I've always loved taking walks, and I take a lot of walks, but there's nothing like a Saturday or a Sunday when you don't have a lot of planned and you can just go for a walk. Like sometimes just leave your phone at home just so nobody can bother you. Just get a cup of coffee. In fact, next time I'm gonna get a cup of coffee while doing this, just to add to the experience. First of all, it's nice to get lost. I mean, it's hard to get lost if you know the city, but it's still possible. And when you have nowhere to be, if you approach it from that perspective where I want to get lost, I want to see new things, I want to experience new things, that it's beautiful. Of course, if you're late somewhere, you have somewhere to be. That's not the situation. But stop Madrid, 1929. I have not been here. Interesting. I have so many favorite places, I've lost count. But it's nothing compared to how many places I have not been to. There's so many amazing places. And you know, there are an infinite amount of places in New York too. Problem is, they're unaffordable. A lot of places in New York, for example, it's like you're gonna spend like $15 or $20 on a drink. Well, let's say $15. And if you're living in New York, it's nothing crazy. All the places you see here, I mean, if you get a cocktail, sure, it's going to be 5 or 6. Hey, guy, it's going to be 5 or 6 euros, sure. But if you get a beer or wine, it's like €3, you know. Imagine getting a glass of wine in in the States or in many other places. Jesus, it's so expensive. Which is strange because there is a local wine industry in the US and California, but nevertheless, it's still very expensive. Oh, you can see on the top left, many balconies, or some balconies, have glass enclosures, like these glass balconies. Oh, they're so beautiful. And here, well, I don't even have to say anything. Just look at this. Just phenomenal. Just beautiful. The thing about being in Madrid, it was my dream to be in Madrid. And when I have a bad day, something's not going well, when I'm not in the good mood, I don't always remember to do this. But when I do, I just remind myself, hey, you're in frickin' Madrid, okay? You're in Madrid. Calm down, relax. You're living your dream. So sometimes taking a walk like this is a good reminder. This is actually kind of a touristy street, but not overwhelmingly touristy street. It's like very mild, but you generally see some tourists here. It's a really cute area. If you go in this direction, you're gonna go straight to Sol, but we're gonna keep going here. Actually, I want to show you one of my early favorite stores, which is a plant store. And I always used to joke, oh, that's going to be my house one day, because it just looks like a nice house with a garden, but it's a plant store. So let's go find it. So this street right here has excerpts from, I think, from poems or something embedded in the ground. This is Calle de las Huertas, the street of Huertas. And yeah, you can stop and read. And there are a lot of tours here, so. And I think also some buildings have historical significance of like someone lived here, someone lived there, so there are a lot of tours there like to stop here and tell people what happened in the past. This is one of my usual streets to take when going to the center. It's got a good vibe. So, as you probably know, Madrid gets very, very hot during the summer. Like 40 degrees. So, one might think that it's actually impossible to be outside. But if you compare it to some other coastal city like Barcelona or New York, Florida, what's nice, what's lovely about the summers in Madrid is that the humidity is non-existent. It literally gets down to like 5-7% humidity during the summer. So it is very hot, but honestly I prefer 40 degrees no humidity than 30 degrees 100% humidity, because that is way worse in my opinion. Madrid has this culture of leaving the city in the summer. I'm used to a culture where you plan your vacation whenever the hell you want. You might go in December, you might go in June. It's really up to you how you use your vacation time. You just have to take time off from your company if you're employed and plan accordingly. But here, there's a specific period of time where everyone takes time off. In fact, some companies even close down. Well, first of all the little shops and stores you see, I think at least half of them close for as long as a month, if not longer, during the summer. Because, first of all, the city is half empty. because it is very hot here. And, you know, people don't want to be here. People leave, so they're going to the beaches. They go north to Galicia, to wherever they want to go. And I remember my first year in Spain, I was really excited that, I'm going to hang out with everyone. It's going to be great. And then when the summer came, everyone just left. So here we go. On the left is my cute little garden store that I love to visit. Well, I wanted to say that I like to visit and never buy anything, but I did spend 300 euros here once on 2 palm trees. So one time I was on my way to the Apple store, which is in the main plaza, or plaza as is pronounced here, in the main Plaza Sol. I went to the Apple store to buy earpods. I was like, today is the day. Finally, that's what's happening. So I went there. There were way too many people there, and I couldn't find anyone to help me. And then finally, I spoke to one of those Apple employees that are like at the very front that greet you. He was like, yeah, I got to get in the line. I was like, Jesus Christ. I just wanted to get out of there. The line was so long. There were so many people. And I was like, you know what? Forget it, another time. So I walked back home and I passed the store. So I remembered I wanted to buy a palm tree for a long time, because first I was like, I'll find a palm tree, because there are many parks here that just have baby palm trees starting to grow. Not as in they're planted, but they're just falling, the seeds are falling down, and then next year there are like millions of palm trees, which later will be mowed down and cut down. They grow many places, but I could never find any of those baby palm trees. I know where they grow now, but back in the day, like a year went by and I was like, okay, forget it, I can't find any. So I was walking from the Apple store, I went inside and I was like, okay, today is the day. The hell with the AirPods. I'm buying palm trees. And I never did buy those earpods, by the way, so there you go. So yeah, I bought 2 beautiful palm trees, which almost died, but they recovered and are really healthy and beautiful now. So I think this is where I'm going to wrap it up. This is actually a much longer episode, which I'm going to split into 2. So we'll resume right where we left off at this plaza, by this Hawaiian restaurant. We just stopped by it once. It was pretty cool inside, and I never went back. So I should really go there one day. So please like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, if you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.